Well, we wanted to have you on because it's a big day in the news with women's issues, and we thought we shouldn't be three guys sitting here talking about Roe v. Wade without a lady present. So
the closest you can get.
This is the closest we could get. Yeah,
want an actual lady. That would suck.
We don't have a very deep bench.
Well, I mean, we're putting on a fucking show here. We couldn't just like, what I'm heading.
And we're obviously the three of us fundamentalist Christians, so where we come down on this.
That's right.
Woody got that from his parents. I just pretend to take choice from women.
Taylor, you may be the most read as it pertains to the Bible, and maybe in general of us all here. I heard a little thing yesterday on the internet. They said that the only mention of abortion in the Bible was like essentially an instruction manual on how to perform one. You think, is that accurate?
I've never heard of that before. I mean, there's multiple verses about it, but most of them, like, abortion wasn't a thing then. Like, it wasn't an understood thing. And so it's like, I mean, there were ways that you could, I'm sure, like, stick a stick up there or something horrific.
I think they would drink like stuff as well,
or poison, something like that. But like the verses they lean on heavily, the biggest one I remember from growing up in religious school and church was like the "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." That's a verse talking about where Christians will say their argument is like, well, you are a fully formed soul. The Lord knows who you are from the moment of conception. And so you are a human. You're a unique human. And I knew you in the womb. And so like that's what I always heard growing up. Probably a couple other ones.
What's a Bible era abortion look like? What the fuck do they do?
Gruesome.
No, I think you're probably drinking some herbs and bark that's been mixed together by some shaman lady or something, and it's triggering I mean, that's how so many morning
something like that.
I just really, you think they invented the Plan B pill back then?
I think
it was food, but I bet they had something. Yeah.
I'll bet so much money.
I mean,
like most
of my limit, which is $5.
I feel like
most of
$5 it is.
All right.
See, I just guarantee that aspirin comes from the bark of a tree, and they had that shit in the Middle Ages. So like, I'm sure that like half the population had this issue occasionally where they're going to have a baby and maybe they don't want to. I'm sure they figured out what to do about that, and it was probably some sort of concoction. They mixed some roots and flowers or something, like some sort of natural cocktail they mixed up and drank.
Well, it's like how they figured out a lot of prescription and like pharmacological drugs now is back in the day. They're like, oh, they take this leaf, they pound it into mortar and pestle, and then they eat the dust and it makes their nausea go away. So they're like, oh, well, let's research. Oh, there's something in this that actually helps with that. Let's isolate that. Like, that's how so many medicines came about.
Yeah, they may not know exactly what's happening on a fucking biochemical level, but they know it works.
Yeah, just like they knew that like lead plates, pewter plates, made your tomatoes taste a little better.
Oh, so much better.
But it was just the acidic of the tomatoes leaching bits of lead, which tastes sweet, and it makes you retarded over time.
Yeah. But in small doses, it makes for a hell of a meal.
In small doses, it just makes you...
like salt. You treat lead like salt.
Just a little bit of lead.
And just a bit of lead on the top.
You just know the guy that figured out like lead and like making pewter plates. He's like, I'm helping so much. Like I'm really helping out. This is a plentiful material. Plates for all. No longer plates just for the rich. Now we can all go insane eating our berries when we turn 65.
I saw some interesting stuff with the Roe v. Wade thing. But just to be clear, I think we're all like pro-abortion. However you want, whatever tagline you want to throw on it. I think we're for the woman's right to choose. At the very least, at some point. Like I don't know about like I think we're all probably against those like scary partial birth abortions that Sean Hannity tells you about, but I don't think they've done those for a little while regularly at least, and this thing seems pretty scary for a lot of people. A couple things that I saw though were interesting. So I remember when ivermectin was this idea that the dummies on the right think ivermectin will cure their COVID, and they're taking horse medicine. Can you believe those hicks? And then like big tweet came out yesterday and kept getting like spread around. It's like, just so you all know, this horse medicine that's for ulcers seems to cause miscarriages in women. Weird. And it's so easy to get your hands on. And it was just like, you guys just you just did the same thing, except yours works. like it's still horse medicine. You guys are taking horse medicine now.
Everyone's taking horse medicine now.
Yeah, I hope nobody. What is the Roe versus Wade thing going to go all the way through, or is there going to be some sort of way to stop? Because first of all, I think it's already essentially done. Like they've already admit, and they also came forward and said that those leaked documents are 100% authentic. Yes. So like what we saw is what it is. So they're pulling it back, right? Like 100%.
Oh, I believe that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't understand pulling it back. To me, that meant it wasn't going to happen.
Oh, I meant overturning back. Roe versus Wade. Yeah, I follow. Yeah. I just didn't phrase it well.
I agree with you. I think that Roe versus Wade is going to be undone. It will start getting bounced to the states. I also think it's an unpopular issue for the Republicans that politically it hurts them. Now, this to me is a little like when they hated gay marriage. Dude, this is all pain, no gain. You shouldn't take this one up. And they're going back there. It's a hurting issue for them politically, which it's been the left making all the unforced errors lately. If you imagine someone judging you really harshly and calling you racist, that guy's a Democrat, right? Some of the most unlikable people in our society right now are virtue signaling, left-leaning, judging whatever, calling
the comedy Gestapo.
Sure. And now the right is finally making their version of these mistakes where they're like telling you that you have to have that baby you don't want. They're telling you that you're not allowed, gay people shouldn't get married anymore. They're making up nonsense like the bathroom bills. Oh, that's 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. People know that I think it was they weren't letting cross-dressers and anyone that had a penis go into the wrong bathroom.
It was trans people it was directed at, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of good memes that came out of it. A lot of very hyper, like someone that looks like me, like pissing in a urinal. And it's like, this is the future conservatives.
Yeah. So that was dude, there was literally never any problem that they were trying to solve, and no one has ever been arrested because of that law. It was just political theater, and it's a losing issue. It hurt North Carolina. Lots of businesses pulled out. We lost the All-Star game, shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I didn't know there was that big of an impact on that.
Oh yeah. Dude, banks didn't come here that were on their way. Like Google was going to open, or maybe it was Apple was going to come here. They pulled out. Like it had like billions of dollars.
Movies and TV shows, like musical concerts,
yep.
You know, they really can't. They can cancel your state if you get out of pocket.
Holy shit!
So, but this time around, I don't know what's going to be done. I will say I enjoy whenever stuff happens, even if it's bad stuff. I like the theater of it all, and man, there are a lot of really upset people. I have never seen Elizabeth Warren so upset. Someone tweeted like, I guess her tribe believes in abortion, something like that, or something like that. But I saw her and she was like struggling to speak clearly. She was so upset
about the abortion thing.
Yeah.
So what's it gonna do? Like make it a state?
It's going to bounce to the states. Yeah, it's going to bounce to the states. And so if someone in Georgia, for example, wants an abortion, I believe North Carolina is the closest.
Georgia's a no.
Georgia would almost certainly be a no. Yeah. I think there are trigger laws in a number of places already that so that as soon as they do their thing federally, the state law is immediately in place and ready to be enforced.
Georgia previously wanted it to be 6 weeks, which is even shorter than it sounds because it starts before conception. It starts at the beginning of the period. It's confusing to me why pregnancy begins before she even fucks anyone, but there you have it. And yeah, right. Because when they say 6 weeks, they're talking about from, I guess, the beginning of her period, if I have this right, which is not, they're not talking about from conception. That's not 6 weeks pregnant. It's the beginning of her cycle.
I thought they were all about the whole life begins at conception thing. I thought they.
Yeah, that's always what I've heard too.
I
think how long the pregnancy goes.
Is it possible that maybe you're thinking about how essentially it could be 4 weeks before they could even know because of a missed period, and so then subtracting that from a potential 6 week thing, it's oh, so you got 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have heard right. Yeah,
because you had no way of knowing that you were pregnant unless you're what are you going to test yourself daily for babies? Hey, did you take your baby test? Yeah, I'm clear.
No, I'm right about this actually. When doctors say a woman
Okay.
is 6 weeks pregnant, the embryo started developing 4 weeks ago. The first 2 weeks were just when it was released
Oh,
from the ovary.
so it's like is like the lining of her womb. Is that like? I don't understand this. This isn't making sense.
It's
to me,
like
Yeah, it's
pregnancy.
confusing to me.
In their case, they consider how far along the development is from when it came out of the ovary, not from when it met sperm. I
Doesn't
wouldn't have
make
guessed
sense.
that either. I learned that this year, but I probably learned it before and forgot it.
Well, that's
But-
wacky.
But I thought it was when the egg was fertilized. But you're saying that like an egg is good enough. Like don't you fuck with that egg. Whoa.
I don't get
Yeah,
that.
when they
No.
when they say someone's 6 weeks pregnant, they don't mean they fucked 6 weeks ago. They fucked about 4 weeks ago.
So the egg counts. The egg count. So does that mean sperm count? Is that how that works? Mass genocide every time you know.
Oh, yeah.
I've killed trillions.
That doesn't make any sense because the egg and the sperm on their own, they're not going to do
Fact
shit.
check it. Yeah,
No, I believe you. I'm just
All
saying that doesn't make any sense.
All that aside,
Weird.
like I think we're all like pro-choice here. Some of us more than others. Good lord. I'm not too thrilled about this decision. It really does suck. But you know, again, I always side with that thing where it's like I saw an ally in the crowd, and he said, "I don't have a uterus. I don't have anything to say about this. It's none of my business." And I want to be like, well, first of all, get the fuck out of here then. And second of all, like Roe versus Wade was decided by, was it 7 men? Was it 7 men? You're trying to defend the thing that 7 men decided about women's uteruses. And so like, stop attacking men when so many women were also the cause of what's happening right now. This is not men versus women. There are a lot of men who don't like this either. I doubt there are as many men who don't like it as much as there are women who don't like it, if that makes sense. It's a women's issue, but that doesn't mean that we don't have opinions anymore.
Oh, they only want your opinion if you.
And what about a trans
They're fine
woman?
with my opinion.
Can a trans woman have an opinion? That's what I would want to know. He said something like, "I don't have a uterus." This liberal ally said, "I don't have a uterus. I don't get a say." And I wanted to be like,
then go home.
What about trans women? Are you saying that trans women have no say in the reproductive rights of women? What would he do?
I don't know what the right answer is.
I mean, the left answer. The left answer.
The one that won't get me in trouble.
Yeah, like all jokes aside, though, it's pretty wild. I never thought this would happen. It was always that thing that's like, oh yeah, if like the whole Supreme Court got taken over, but all of these people who are on there, you know, they're playing the clips now of them being like, Roe versus Wade, settled law. And, you know, like every single one of them said it when they were brought before Congress in one way or another. And, you know, if you've seen those when they run them through the rigmarole there, you know, they don't get asked once, twice, or 3 times. They get asked 30 fucking times, every angle of approach possible with this verbal jujitsu they try to throw on these guys. And they still are like, you know, I don't know a lot about that topic. When I'm looking at law, and then they've got their answers pre-programmed and it's perfect. But all of them essentially said, not essentially, literally said that Roe versus Wade was, you know, settled law, precedent. And now I guess it's a different story. And I guess that, worst of all, opens the door to taking things away like gay marriage. I don't know, maybe gays in the military, stuff like that. Like anything that like the hard right would like to eliminate.
You think the gay marriage thing will happen?
I think I'd like 30% chance that,
I feel like I haven't heard anyone mention that in like 10 years. Like it became legal and it was like, okay.
What's the like the approval rating on that? I feel like it's got to be, if I was going to guess, well, it's got to be like 80-90% of people.
I think Zach told us that the majority is for the 16-week deadline on abortion, like 54%.
He says 15 weeks is what he wrote. 54% of America says 15 weeks. 15 weeks doesn't bother me because so there's all these things. Like if the brain's on the outside, I'm okay with like fucking afterbirth for all.
I'm not. We've talked about that.
but I do feel like these late term things need to be rare exceptions, and I think they are. But I don't know how to write it in law. If you say like, for example, when the mother's health is threatened, then she can just be like, I don't know, I'd be pretty depressed if I had a baby. And it's hard to write it into law in such a way that you get it perfect. So it's tricky. But there is also look, you can't sit on this too long. You know, like when we get it down to 6 weeks, it's like, oh shit, it's only 2 weeks after she's missed her period. Sometimes that happens normally.
Yeah.
Like this is and what, you're supposed to get yourself in the doctor's chair for this procedure when you're like within 5 days of knowing that you passed a pregnancy test, and like that's too short, too short. But add 9 more weeks to that, add 2 months plus to that, and it's like, well, you were kind of sitting on your hands for a while. You missed several periods. You should have taken a pregnancy test and knew what was up, and that gives you time to deal with this.
Yeah,
you could have had a real woman to talk about how this all works on.
No, this is good. This is good.
This is even better. Just we won't know anything more about this than when we started.
If you could just nod along when we say things, so that if someone watches the clip, they just see a woman agreeing.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you were talking about like a bunch of Americans, a bunch of school. I would just sit around, look pretty, go like that.
By the way, we've got a little Japanese girl who's going to fill in.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the one you were looking at. What, like, people's takes on abortion haven't changed as much as I would have guessed since like the 70s. Like, even in 2021, it's like 48% say legal only under certain circumstances. That's the most popular view. Then 32 say legal under any circumstances, and then 19 say illegal under any circumstances. And, and I guess that last percentage, that last point, they couldn't decide. Maybe, I don't know.
One of the things that's an issue with something like this is those outliers, because like the right will bring you those pictures of babies that have had scissors inserted into their skulls and then the brain sucked out when all you had to do was push one more time, or they'll show you what's the other thing that's horrific? Oh, the statistics where like these ladies are having 4 or 5 abortions a year, and it's like, this is just your birth control, and of course she's not paying for these abortions like the taxpayer is. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm funding this prostitute's 5-6 abortions a year. That's taxpayers are funding that. How many years has this been? 3 years. Okay.
That would be wild.
Right to choose, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like you picked a really extreme and rare corner case.
That's what I said to begin with. Is that you end up with these like weird outlier cases, and I like the partial birth abortions, I believe, are weird outlier cases too. I think that doesn't happen unless it's like, I don't know when that happens, but the right will throw it forward like, this is just what they do sometimes. They're about to have a baby, and then they're like, you know what? Never mind, kill it.
Like they wanted to do it cruelly.
Yeah. But like the reality is, like when someone has an abortion after 8 months, that couple wanted a baby. That couple probably named that baby. That is a mom and a dad in serious mental distress because their baby wasn't viable. Like that's what happened
most of the time.
Pretty much all the time. Like
no. Well, I know a lot of like.
I'm talking about 8 months plus, right? Like do people foul up and deny what's happening with their body at 3 months? Yeah, I could guess that. At 6 months, I'm starting not to buy it very much. At 8, dude, these are people who were excitedly looking about their baby. They gave that baby a name. They may have painted the fucking nursery. To paint them as people who were just like really into cruel abortions is a lie.
Yeah. Unless it's like one of those porn stars who does like pregnant porn. So like she just goes to 8 months every 8 months. Right?
Oh, Jesus.
You got to maintain.
See, that's shrewd. That's shrewd maneuvering.
Yeah.
What a horrible job that would be. You're just pregnant your whole life, no payoff at the end. Just
I mean, you guys were way less shocked.
You get to eat whatever you want. like everybody's always want to like rub your belly. It sounds like a real win-win situation to me. Is there any discomfort with pregnancy? Like when you boil it down?
No, it's everyone
great.
knows this.
You glow. Everyone knows it's great.
You want pickles a little bit and you're fine.
Yeah,
bigger boobs.
Bigger boobs.
A jar of pickles and some stretch pants, and like, come on.
Yeah, it's a notoriously easy process.
Yeah. I mean, it would be, all I know is that we wouldn't complain so much if we did.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain at all.
It would be like the garbage would, when we take the garbage out, we don't even mention it. It just gets taken out. That's how childbirth would be. Oh yeah, here he is.
Yeah.
You did that?
One day, come back.
You should have woken me. Nah, we're gonna get it out of the way. Here's your coffee, by the way, honey, and your baby. Yeah, I did this morning.
Have you seen those little electrodes you can get placed on you to like stimulate really bad cramps. They do it to dudes every now and then. Be like, you think you can deal with childbirth? They just fucking crank it.
What's true?
Yeah,
I mean, the guy
like
at
couldn't really simulate too well.
Impractical Jokers, he did it.
Really?
Yeah, and they turned it all the way up on him, and he still had the wherewithal to be making jokes. Like as it was happening, he's like, "Whoa, this is pretty crazy."
I don't think that's the same though. Like I think if you had to shit like a cantaloupe, that would be on par, right?
That could be. Well, now I'm getting it. Yeah, that does sound rough. No, that's gonna be a new thing. Is like I'm gonna just like subtly undercut the difficulty of being pregnant in the women in my life, where I'm like, man, I've heard it can like take days for your body to get back to normal. I heard it doesn't actually hurt, but